I'm now joined by journalist and author of a book about Iranian militia in Iraq, Baria Alamuddin. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know if you just heard the interview I did previously with Joe Bennett. It's really difficult because his parents are in an Iranian prison at the moment, Evin prison. From your perspective, what are the most urgent humanitarian consequences of the ongoing US-Israeli strikes on Iran?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. My name is Baria. You can say probably Da'a in Arabic. Tremendous consequences on every level. You were just talking to the gentleman whose parents have been imprisoned for a while. They were going around the world, and then suddenly they found themselves victim of such policies that the Iranian regime has frequently subjected foreigners to, as calling them spies. This is just one of them. There are people dying in my country, Lebanon, as we speak. I just came back from Dubai. I was with my family, and we managed to get to Oman. And I saw that tremendous amount of worry that people have, especially about the young ones, the tremendous consequences in the economic situation in the world at large, but also in the area, but also in Iran. Don't forget, in Iran there are people, in Israel there are people, in Lebanon there are people. So wars never produce good consequences of any kind. And I don't think that we know exactly what the aims of this war is. As you know, I was also, before Dubai, I was in Saudi Arabia, and I saw the vibrant economy. I saw how people were happy. I was in Bahrain. People are going about all these countries, and Doha, where these are booming countries. These are countries that are helping the world, everywhere, helping the Arab world in particular, people in Gaza, and now they are in dire straits. People are scared. The oil has stopped. We haven't seen anything yet. We're still at the very beginning. So I think the consequences are dire. The consequences are huge. And everybody will be better off with this war ending, and hopefully with regime change in Iran, where the Ayatollahs can only stay in their mosques, and they would get democratic, normal people to run the country.
And it's really difficult to see what the end is, as you did say, right now, as we enter the sixth day of this conflict. How do you assess the impact of Israeli military operations on civilians in southern Beirut and other areas of Lebanon? Because this is another theatre of war that we have been seeing.
I have actually witnessed the 1982 invasion of Israel, of my country, and that's why we immigrated and stayed in the UK. Luckily, we were allowed to stay. And we are part of the society. And I'll do anything for the UK, for their kindness and for accepting my family. However, my heart goes to the people of Lebanon. As you know, Hezbollah, who is an agent of Iran, has been requested by the Iranian regime to enter this war. This is not a war that the Lebanese people chose. It's only a very small segment of the Lebanese people that are called Hezbollah. Even their supporters do not support this war. These are people that are sleeping on the corridors of the streets. They are sleeping on the corniche. In Beirut, you can see them from balconies. These are people that have nowhere to go. And today, as we are speaking, Israel has ordered the people of Adahi, that has hundreds of thousands of people, to leave. They asked the people of Bint Jbeil, of Sur. These are big towns in the south of Lebanon. These are beautiful areas where you have beaches. And I really hope that Mr. Kushner and President Trump do not think of building something over there. But frankly and truly, the consequences are dire. People are not only dying, but they are mentally impaired. They're facing catastrophe after catastrophe. They're losing their homes, their livelihood. They're losing their children. These are people that are even losing their dignity, their will to live, because frankly, the government cannot it's a government that is trying to get out of many years of Hezbollah domination. It's nearly a failed state, Lebanon, and to have this war, the consequences have not been clear yet, and it will take some time for this consequences. But the death already is around 700. Wounded are more than 2,000. And we're just on the, as you said, the 6th day. So I'm very, very worried and concerned about the people of Lebanon, like I'm concerned about the whole area, the whole world, indeed.
And in light of your reports that strikes during the war have hit civilian targets, so we're hearing this in Iran, including a girls' school in Iran where many children were killed. What do you see as the humanitarian consequences for women and children in Iran? And how should the international community respond to protect them? Because women and children are traditionally the most vulnerable in a war zone.
You know, one of the main victims of what we're seeing around the world is the loss of world order. The UN is rendered ineffective. There is nowhere to go for the people. You hardly hear about human rights. You hardly hear the word democracy from the administration in the US. These are not, don't seem to be taken into consideration. Europe is trying to get themselves together, haven't succeeded so far. I don't know where you turn to. I don't know where the world order is going to. This is why I think people are desperate. And I can tell you as well, it's not only the people that are dying and they are wounded, but also the other people. Everybody is tense. Everybody cannot enjoy themselves. I'm in London. I just came back from a wonderful lunch with friends. And everybody is just worried. We're unable to sleep. We are unable to enjoy the peace in England. This has to change. The world cannot go on with such lack of disorder. The UN has to come back into existence. It has to come back to respect. Human rights should be talked about. They should be considered. Unfortunately, what we have seen the last 2-3 years in the war about Gaza and what we are seeing now, witnessing in the West Bank and all around the Middle East, does not give us hope. But I'm a very hopeful person, and I always believe in humanity and the law and order and justice. So I'm not sure who's going to bring us this, but hopefully it will come. This cannot go on for a long time, because also don't forget the loss of oil. The world economy is in shambles. Let's hope the Americans will be able to control both the Iranians and the Israelis that are frankly raining havoc in the area. We need peace. As I told you, I just came back from the wonderful Gulf countries where you see prosperity, beauty, development. I really hope this could be recovered and stayed, and not only that, preserved and continue to move on. Destruction doesn't serve anyone. Wars don't serve problems. At the end of the day, after this war, people will have to sit around the table, discuss, and hopefully reach a resolution.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I think many people would echo what you're saying, that diplomacy always has to come into play at the end of the day, even after a major conflict. But I just wanted to ask your thoughts, actually. We got some breaking news a little bit earlier on, and Trump says he needs to be personally involved in selecting Iran's next leader. What do you make of US involvement in that process?
Honestly, it's so difficult to make. I mean, can you imagine the head of state of supposedly the biggest democracy, the free world, to come and say that I'm going to actually appoint the head of a state of 90 million people? I'm sorry, this is not acceptable. I hope and I pray that every country in the world, independent country, will be able to choose their own leaders. And I'm not sure that Mr. Trump is the person capable of choosing anybody for his own country, let alone for other countries. This is adding insult to injury. I am no supporter supporter of the Iranian regime, as you probably have gathered. But I think it's up to the Iranian people, and I hope that this destruction will only bring hope and democracy and order to the Iranian people. Don't forget, the ones that are suffering from this regime are really the Iranian people. And I'd like to add one idea here. When Hezbollah was being created, when the PMU, Hashd al-Shabi, which is my book about in Iraq, were created, the Americans were there, the Israelis were there. They were witnessing, and they were keeping a blind eye, because it suited them to have Lebanon as a failed state and Iraq as a failed state. It suited them that Iran could threaten a beautiful country like Bahrain, or now the Gulf. The Gulf did not want this war, that I'm sure about, because they were enjoying everything that they could. They were enjoying good economies, they were enjoying development, educated population. I mean, this is beyond belief that the head of the United States would say, I'm going to choose who governs 90 million people in Iran. This is not acceptable.
Thank you so much for speaking to me, given your experience covering Middle Eastern geopolitics. And of course, you had a career in TV, you've written a book. It's just been fascinating to hear from you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.